Today inside the program, Radio Democracy go talk to the Salon Association of Journalists Large. We go can talk about how the media been reports the June 24 election, and Simwiso, the Vice President for the Salon Bar Association, go talk about within now the assessment of the entire electioneering process. We don't welcome the Bar Association President, Vice President, I beg your pardon, and now want to welcome the President for the Salon Association of Journalists Large. We Ahmed Said Nasrella. Good morning and welcome to the program. Good morning, Salon.
Good morning, 98.1. Good morning, listeners.
Continue for stay with we inside the program. We come to we studio guest from the Bar Association, Sidiki Tommy Esquire, Vice President, Salon Bar Association. We will be done welcome earlier inside the program and therefore talk about the Bar Association assessment of the June 24 elections. The Bar Association, a professional body, we one of them function now for give information on legal issues and advice on legal matters. Them we go affect the public. And this body don't they monitor the election process before, during, and after the election. So they don't put together them findings. Them we Sidiki Tomi they inside the program for can talk about. Good morning once more and welcome to the program.
Good morning. Good morning.
As I give that background to listeners and viewers them about Bar Association and self the work on don't they do before, during and after the election. They therefore talk about the Bar Association assessment. But for somebody where they listen, take me through the roles them we the Bar Association play before, during and after the election before come to una assessment and findings.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. And like where you say in your introduction, the Bar Association is made up of legal practitioners. It's a professional body, just like where you get the Sierra Leone Association of Journalists, you get the medical practitioners. So we serve now an organization we make up of lawyers, we qualified for practice law in Sierra Leone. Like what you say also in the introduction, we consider questions of law, we get for affect the interests of the state, and we also, they deal with legal matters, then we get for deal with the public. And also many people when they talk about lawyers or Bar Association, it get for involved, waiting there with the do court for clients and litigants. Of course, that's our normal role we do. But we M&A, when at the memorandum and articles of association also get for talk about the welfare of we members them. All of those now activities then we will engage in as an organization. So like when you say the period leading to elections, don't start this even before the elections proper. What do we do for ensure we get a free and fair election? We been organized with annual general meeting sometime on the 17th of March 2023, New York. What do we do in that annual general meeting? Because we understand even before the electioneering, there has been so much heightened tension. The things that we've been go around, even before NEC declare campaign open, you go agree with me, Musa, that, the situation on ground already been tense, with the way political rhetorics go here and there. So we demand fit as an association say, let's see how we go tone down, let's pipe down some of them rhetorics here, because good for let's get this kind of high intention going into elections. We know how important, that June 24 elections been beat to the country. So what do we do when we hold we annual general meeting at York? We decide to get relevant stakeholders for come and can sign to what we call a peace undertaking. Let me put it that way. It was a peace undertaking, where we eventually end up for called the York Declaration. During that session, we been get calls for, bring together the scribes, the Secretary General of the two leading political parties in this country, when at the All People's Congress and that of the Sierra Leone People's Party. We've been getting other stakeholders. Then SLAJ was represented in that particular session. They also we've been get the ambassador to the United Kingdom. We've been get so many other stakeholders. Then we attended that York Declaration Day. And thankfully, the two Secretary General then for them two leading parties, then they happen for be lawyers. in the person of Mr. Lansana Dumbuya and that of Umaru Napoleon Nkrumah. So we decided to bring them together, and it was very good, very colorful, and well attended, session. So we get them for commit to that peace declaration. They say, then go guarantee the people of Sierra Leone say they will go into this election and ensure say we maintain them, without violence, and have a process wherein Sierra Leoneans will be very proud of the fact say we political leaders them. They don't conduct themselves, with what is expected of them when it comes to electioneering. So that is where we started. We get them for commit to that. And in fact, the peace pledge where you see EU and other international bodies then sign Bintu money, then pick a leaf from the Bar Association. Because now we first start that process, say, let we get stakeholders them for let them commit to ensuring, say, this election will be free, fair, and peaceful. And we not go get the kind of tension because we people then most certainly not deserve that. And in that peace pledge also we then sign Bintu money, we also been there. In fact, my president, Madam Swallow, was witness to that peace pledge where the two leaders then also go sign Bintu money. So we've been done set the stage already for ensuring say we go into elections that is non-violent and very peaceful.
So I just take from the York Declaration and self the peace pledge where the political leaders have been signed and Bintu money where you just make mention of. So from then commitments and the way the political leaders then be go signed to, from waiting una observe, then stick to them commitments and they foresee the elections for be free, fair, and peaceful.
Well, to a very great extent, because though unfortunately I must say that when the electioneering don't come now proper, we see say so the comments that we've been come with some of the political leaders then really seem to go against what they sign up to. But we just believe say it was important for us set that stage there. Let people know that you've committed onto a cause and you must ensure you live by that.
What are some of the things that the political leaders then do we go against the York Declaration and that of the peace pledge where they've been signed Bintu money?
Well, and we believe say the political leaders then get responsibility for ensure say the message where they send out to them supporters. Now one way not get anything way related to violence. We can notice with this age of social media now, there's so many, politically charged statements that we've been come out where not been really good, from both sides, where we've been expect say as leaders them, waiting then tell the people, because Southern supporters then they listen so much to them political leaders. You see, say we've been on the issues of violence here and there, go around people, this tribal rhetoric here and there. So we were a little bit disappointed that, leaders did not come out and truly make people know, say, some of the statements they wouldn't make, it gets, the tendency to affect the peace and security of this country. So but by and large, and what we go say, we're very happy for the way it all panned out because, elections around the world almost go get issues there and there. But thankfully, as we all know, it was a process that came and passed by peacefully, and we really thank God for that.
Then signed to the York Declaration, they preach non-violence, and at the end of the day, according to your statements, some issues then be the happen where the political leaders do not take action. I asked you earlier, what will be the role of the Bar Association before, during, and after the election? At this moment, what will you do for call the political leaders them to order with regards the agreements where they be don't sign with you?
Well, we get them to commit to that agreement, but in the period leading to elections, we've been get so much we've been do as an association. We've been engaged in also what we call we implement that Know Your Law scheme. What does that involve? We've been taking a responsibility because, like what I said earlier on, it is our responsibility to inform the public about the laws then we govern the operations of elections and so many other related matters. So we introduced that Know Your Law series from the 9th to the 23rd, wherein we take certain laws them and we bring them out to people, let them understand, say, these are the laws we govern the operations of the elections. So I believe so when ourselves been done, they see some of them flyers and they will be go around, we educate them on the responsibility of the leaders them in the period leading to election. We'd also inform the general public for know their right, that it is your right for let you vote and be voted for, waiting for happen during the elections period, how campaigning for go, if you feel aggrieved with the things that are happening, the right channel, whether the national returning officer where the constitution recognize, for announced results and all of those. Those were all activities geared towards ensuring that the people, they are well informed, and leaders, they know that, then get that responsibility for ensure, say, we get a violent-free election.
Continue for stay with me inside the program. Sidiki Tommy, Vice President, Saloon Bar Association. They inside the program they talk about the assessment but you don't explain about the rule before the election. We will come back to you for engaging on an assessment on other issues them we now take inside this election. The program like Good Morning Saloon, where they come to you from the Society for Radio Democracy 98.1 FM.
All right, we come to the other studio guests. We are the president for the Sierra Leone Association of Journalists, SLAJ. We are Ahmed Said Nazgala there this morning. We can talk about how the media been cover the June 24 elections and also waiting on some of the things them where the media also as SLAJ them fell out from the whole coverage where the media been give to the election. Yeah, so. And once more, I want to welcome the president, Ahmed Said Nazgala. I just want to say His Excellency.
His Excellency.
And indeed, the president for SLAJ. Good morning again. Welcome to the program once more.
Thank you very much.
Well, the Sierra Leone Association of Journalists, SLAJ, then being founded on the 5th of June, 1971, and primarily their role now for promote freedom of expression and of the press, and also for seek the welfare and protection of a membership, and also for ensure say them training and capacity building opportunity them for member them na the Sierra Leone Association of Journalists, and this na the umbrella body of all the journalists them na Salone. Well, there this morning, like I don't say, for can't tell we how the media been cover the whole June 24 election them, and also waiting and fair notes from then coverage in the. But firstly, let me just start for now before the elections. Waiting SLAJ been do ahead of the process for ensure say the membership then able for cover the elections them. Waiting have been do ahead of the time.
Thank you very much. Basically, say for every elections, the media gets a very critical role for play and a very central role because everything about the elections is based on information. People then forget the correct information for make informed decisions around the elections and for make them participate and also be part of the process. And so what is SLAJ do for every election is that the fifth one we don't get, and for make sure to position we say that's in that central role and make sure to perform that kind of role they will perform for make sure to we do them professionally and efficiently and ethically. And so what we do, we before the elections we come together because on these elections for the first time we work together as media stakeholders. We, the Media Reform Coordinating Group, the Independent Radio Network, and the Independent Media Commission, and also the Right to Access Information Commission. Now we'll be to go around and try for get the donors them for support for programs them for train journalists them across the country on various issues them before the elections and preparing for the elections. And so we've been successful for get one or two donors that will support we and for do training across the country. So what we do. We as election the council about 2 or 3 months before the elections, the INC will get some regulations that will then pass in Parliament in relation to print and electronic media and also on elections coverage. And so the one that is very important for the journalists and the one before the elections. And so the IMC will go around and popularize those documents, and we now as SLAJ go around again and make sure say we train journalists across the country for make sure say they understand their rules and regulations as well as the elections coverage regulations. Another one. We also train them on the conflict sensitive reporting so that journalists then go be in a position for make sure say what they put out continue for heightening the tension and cause division and also contribute to the toxic politics we'll get. And so that one will be visually for that. Let them use their platforms, use the experience and use the expertise for make sure say they minimize the kind of tension and try to see how they will bring stability and peace and during the elections. And we also train them journalists across the country on gender-sensitive reporting because we also want to make sure say the woman candidate that would they contest by these elections. We support them as media, let them be represented in the media, we profile them, and make sure they will give them the platform for them also express their policies, them in agenda where they get for kind of power. And we also do training on the disinformation and misinformation, because we understand now a very concern for we, and not only for you, but everybody would take part in the elections, the issue of disinformation and misinformation and hate speech around the election. So apart from establishing the fact-checking centers that we'll get, I'll come to that later, we also make sure that every journalist get fair knowledge about how for help for counter disinformation, how they also will help for contribute for make sure that people can get access to credible information. So we do that across the country as well. And we get now, based on the studies that we get across the country before the elections on the information landscape, we find out, say, the manipulation of content online and offline is largely responsible for so many unrest that we get at this country in the last 2-3 years. And so we take and say for this election, then it will be the battleground for the politics we go for play. And so we take a lot, we approach the journalists back and the support we follow. We establish the I-Verify platform under UNDP, together with the IRN, the BBC Media Action, Sierra Leone. Now we are part of that program day. So we established a fact-checking center we call the I-Verify platform. There are now a team of fact-checkers them and coordinators them, who based on large, who then duty now for make sure say any information will come out around the elections. We'll get issue, we'll get problematic content. Then fact-check them, then verify them, and then post on the website, the I-Verify website, and the dedicated Facebook page, on the I-Verify Facebook page. And people will get access to them, and also journalists will get access to them, publish their stories, and the platform also interactive. They're not just they put information there for you, for let you get them. You also can go there and go verify your claim. I get this video, I get this image, I get this story. It's not true, when I help him. Then they respond to you within a reasonable time and get back to you and say, this is correct, this is misleading, this is false, or this is true. And beyond that, they also do voter education, not just a fact check, but also they put out information about the elections, about the ECSN activities and how the election get for time and they do it. Then we get the other aspect of our the NDI, National Democratic Institute Super Newsroom, where they also comprise of fact checkers then based here in Freetown and also based in the northern, in the regional headquarters towns. So we shall get offices in the north, in McKinney, in the south, in Bo, in the east, in Kenema, and in the northwest, in Poloko. So they all also do the same work, fact check, the social media monitoring, and check out content they will if they say they undermine the credibility of the elections and put out there, let people get access to credible information. And because we know say people not all man on social media, not all man they access internet, and not all man get the opportunity for use and get smartphone. So we know say from the studies that we do, we know say the bulk of the Australian population rely on radio for getting information, and so that's where the independent radio network platform come in. We have a platform of about 40 to 50 radio stations who during the elections all they collapse into one and give out information to the public, factual information to the public, correct information to the public about the elections. So the IM platform, they compile all the stories that we don't know for the week and broadcast them in the language of the communities that the people don't understand, when I Creole, and broadcast them. So that's how we do for the fact checking with the call. And on the eve of the elections, because we know for these elections, one of we priorities that we put, and for make sure that we ensure the safety and security of the journalists. And make sure that when we meet with the observers, them, the back hotel, they will say we want for the first time in the history of elections now, while in a report, we want to prioritize the issue of safety and security of journalism. So we get a meeting and we also try for because we will do that as well. We go around on the eve of the elections on a Friday, the 23rd. We go around the major media houses that we want to say therefore involved in covering the elections on the day of the elections. Ukanaya 98.1. We talk to Una about the need for ensure impartiality, professionalism, and also ensure safety during the elections. We also go AYV media. We go to Media One. We also go to Tumac Radio, Justice Radio, and Citizen Radio, and also admonish them for make sure say during the elections they perform the role effectively and efficiently without taking any sides and bring information to the people. And so we also tell them say on the night of before the elections, we put out the safety and security guidelines to help them to cover the elections the following day. And we put out and we put contact numbers then. But if any journalist involved in any incidents, these are the numbers you should call until we sort of document them and follow up and try to address them. So basically, this is what we do in terms of preparing journalism for the elections, so that we cover the elections in a professional way.
After we don't say that, this election to plenty people will be a critical one. Although the constitution give everybody rights, me and you self been votes na the election, everybody gets also been votes. But the issue of impartiality and professionalism, like you be make mention, now one thing where plenty people be concerned about how the media be ensure say impartiality and professionalism them maintain throughout the coverage of the elections, despite the fact say everybody been get right for go vote. Also I want for vote.
From we monitoring of the elections, the day of the elections, then the polling day, we assessment now that generally the media do very well in terms of the performance for ensure say them bring the news to the public in a professional and impartial way. And then they cut across the board from the south to the east and the north and northwest and also the western rural and urban area, because we follow and we executive there in the regional areas also who been there for monitor the media and see how they perform during the elections. And so 98.1, AYV, the IRN platform, everybody being involved in the elections, and we go beyond that as well. For instance, we also respond to some of the challenges that the people have been talking, because that safety and security guidelines we put out and contact the WOGI for the journalism. We find out say the public also been used and contacted them for reach out to we for tell we say this station here will not begin voting till now. It's almost about 3 o'clock. The material is not carried, and we relay the best to the ECSL for address them and call them back and say this ECSL they come for address them. And so basically we perform very good, although there are 1 or 2, 3 concerns them. But if you compare the past 4 elections them, we don't take part. This is one where we recommend all the journalists them who involved in covering the elections across the country.
So still on the issue of professionalism, how SLAJ they ensure then membership, especially for example, people when are members of SLAJ can want for be press attaches, or some of them are already press attaches them, or somebody they expect political appointments, but also they practice as a journalist. Also, una can manage for let them draw the line, say, in as much as you get political interest, but also professionalism counts when it comes to journalism.
Yes, that's another issue we get, and we now stop any journalist not for support a political party or support a candidate or get an appointment for serving government. They're not we they appoint them. Government they appoint them, and they also get right for serve the country. But we make it clear before the elections and tell them say, as long as you don't identify with a political party, you don't identify publicly with a political candidate, we expect say you for make sure say when you practice professionally, and make sure say your audience who they follow you, they know say you're on the side, so that what they get from you, they're not going to be surprised say what they put out now from you bias points of view support. We make it clear to them, and we also make it clear to them say if you continue to be biased and impartial because you don't take all of the sides, then you lost your integrity and they lost trust from the people that will follow you and the audience them. But we make it clear also in terms of safety and security, you get a responsibility for go into the elections as a journalist, not as a politician. Because if you go as a politician, then you stand the risk of getting attacks from political supporters. So make that very clear. But that the issue of politics and journalism, we're not going to control over them. Now everybody right for supporting a political party or support a candidate, and no matter if you support them, as long as you get a threat or they intimidate you by the work we do, as long as you work as a journalist, we get right for protect you and we get right for stand by you, because you are first and foremost a journalist. But we ensure say we appeal to them. We know say you support this political party, we support this candidate, but make sure say whatever you put out is professional. Not use the platform for pass out propaganda and false news and fake news and for inside people then.
This issue of where my colleague just mentioned of these press attaché journalists expected to be appointed press attachés after the election, somehow, according to the public opinion, perhaps now one of the issues that may affect the performance of some journalists then in terms of impartiality. And people they think say perhaps the Salon Association of Journalists large and government can work them out the appointment on press attachés not based on political appointments but rather on professionalism and also based on experience that they feel. Sludge in any way they think in that direction, they for reduce the thinking of the public towards the media practitioners them because perhaps someone press attach a job.
Well, let's get one thing clear first. And during the elections, no press attaché, no report on the elections. The one that will report on the election, journalists, they would work for media houses. The press attaché them, then you're busy with supporting a political party and social media. Look at the clear first. No press attaché not involved in reporting on the elections. We say, when a press attaché can at this police center for report on the elections. Then he write down opinion pieces them and put out. You have to the audience for believer or not believer. And we don't have to involve in the aspects of appointing press attaché. They're purely a political matter, which we don't find out over the years. Not tonight start. It don't start from the last 15 to 20 years. We find out say the politics will get na saloon, na politics of compensation. Once you are a political party and a candidate, then you get some people who will support you help you come to power. Where you can have power, you find obligated for compensating them. That's where the issue of press attaché come in. Before now, it used to be through the Ministry of Information and Communications that they appoint information press attaché them for one of the embassies then. But that changed over time because of the politics. And so we don't have to involve in that aspect and for then consult people, appoint people for serving in government. No, we don't have to go that far. But we can say as long as you're a professional journalist, member of SLAJ, they appoint you for serve as press attaché, perform your work professionally, and make sure say you able for separate that line between politics and your profession as well.
All right, continue for the weeks. We the program that's the president for the Salon Association of Journalists SLAJ, when Ahmed Sahid Nazgala in the studio this morning. They talk about how the media been covered the June 24 elections. We come to the other studio guests.
Sidiki Tommy, the vice president, Salon Bar Association, they inside the program they talk about the role of the body we then do before, during, and after the election, and they talk about the role we then play before and during the elections. When put out an assessment of observation of the entire electioneering process for listeners, them we not see this release or wanna point them. What are some of the things that we wanna observe during this election?
Yeah, thank you very much. And even before I come in detail to what we put out for the public, it's also important to note that in the period leading also to election, we've been doing some form of community engagement, wherein we go around the country to some headquarter towns, them, all geared towards, preaching, say, we need forget a peaceful election. Then we've been engaged the community leaders and the chiefs, them, Gonakono, Bo, Kenema, we did one Apoloko. All of that was just geared towards ensuring, say, we send out the right message, say, election not a do or die affair. It's important we go into it, with that kind of peace of mind they enable ensure, say, we come out, we all as winners for Sierra Leoneans. So for the elections proper, NEC be accredit we as observer, they mean give observer status, for the June 24 elections. We also deploy 63 observers in all the 16 districts then as Sierra Leone. If I would need more than that by way of numbers, but next say that is the best they can do because we members then be more than willing, for come and be observer during these elections. We've been print, then cover top them, we've been get polos, then we give you observers then and then cover.
And that's 63 per district or the entire electioneering process?
The 16 districts in Sierra Leone. We've been get 63 observers now the 16 districts, not to 63 per district. But we've been get more numbers na Freetown really, because the polling stations then na Freetown have been covered more. But say logistically sometimes, for go up provincial towns them, but we be really get with members then with volunteers. Those that are resident in some of them places, then they will side and register, then endeavor for go out and be monitors on behalf of the Sierra Leone Bar Association. So we print ID cards, them we NEC accredit, we distribute the ID cards and they to membership, right? And before the elections proper also, a week before, we also collaborate with plenty of the institutions that we come in country for come monitor the elections. The EU, the Charter Center, all of those, when they come in country, they requested to have a session with the Sierra Leone Bar Association. Just for we will test ideas, for know exactly what the situation is on ground and how better placed, we institutions than they, political parties here and there. So we tell them within our own view, as far as the laws then concerned, we go for do with the elections proper, and we give them the assurance here, I think Sierra Leone is better placed really for going to elections. And ensure say we get a very credible one. The summary of our findings, we'll put out there. First of all, it's important to note that there was the law which governed these particular elections. There was the Public Election Act in 2012, where we get some anomalies. There were lacunas after the previous elections, them come out with certain recommendations. And one of those recommendations, now for let we get a new act, the period leading to these coming elections. So that's the passing of the Public Elections Act of 2022. So many of those provisions that we then at that act today, now one then we come from recommendations from European Union, civil society organizations after the previous elections. Then they say it's important let we get something where at least go sit right, by way of electioneering. Because some of the things that we've been doing under the old act, don't become stale. Those are lacunas we need for be reviewed. So then pass this new act, kudos to Parliament, and pass this new act we govern. And most of the flyers them will even been pull out, it been really get for do with the provisions that we then at the Public Election Act of 2022. When you look at the particular act there, you notice it complement the 1991 Constitution, because plenty of the things that were there at the 1991 Constitution, were also captured in the act. The right to vote, the right to be voted for, when voting for start, when polling for close, would again the mandate for do XYZ. All of those are, election-related things and we govern by that particular act there. We note by way of findings, the ECSL, as an institution where as a body where the constitution mandate for do the elections, they not act at variance with any applicable law. Because they look at waiting the provisions then say. And if you say somebody go against them, we will call you out and say, this is what you did wrong. But it is our view that the ECSL act in compliance with all relevant laws them as far as this electioneering process concerned. It's important to emphasize that. We also observe the early voting. We give kudos to ECSL that they not disenfranchise people who be want go urge. They ensure say, them vote early, way standard in normal. Not because you want go urge. If you say because time not reach it proper for elections, you not go able to vote just because you don't get opportunity for go urge. No, they ensure say they organize the early voting for them, which also very good, and it means standard practice really way applicable. That is standard acceptable national practice. So we give them credit for that as well. We also observe say the media regulation and code of conduct were adhered to by journalists. Like where my brother don't say, yes, the journalists then really comport themselves well during this election. And I also give credit to, Dr. Masako of IMC and the executive director, the executive secretary there, Mr. Kalon. They implemented what is called that rapid response for this election. And it's important for let the public know, say, we they work as well with IMC, because by the IMC Act, the Bar Association get representation at the board of IMC. So we notice, they may get this rapid response wherein commissioners were sent to different districts, headquarter towns, for govern and ensure, say, there is sanity in the journalistic realm as far as the election concerned. They also set up a situation room in Freetown here where they monitor. We notice, say, they also go around some radio station, television station, just for make sure, say, the content where the media people and they put out there, now one way it they in alliance with the law, and now one way they in compliance with relevant provisions, so like they're not edge outside what is expected of them as journalists and media houses. So I really give kudos to Dr. Masakwe for that, for every put up that rapid response team will monitor the elections. And we all don't see coming out say we don't really get that kind of adverse. impact.
Before we can look at the recommendations them we una make na una release on a poll regarding with una fair notes and the June 24 elections. I say in the conclusion, una say the elections then be free and fair and largely peaceful. Even though I don't state that, but also we see a lot of concerns don't come from this particular election. Aside the main opposition, the All People's Congress, APC party, not accept the results of the elections yet because they get issues with the whole process and the announcement of the presidential candidates of the election. And part of our mandate for ensure so we consider all questions we get to do with law where they affect the interest of the states. Based on that, on a mandate, waiting on a comments regarding the position currently of the All People's Congress APC party, then concerns that we don't really support the election.
Well, in a democracy, that's the beauty of democracy. Sometimes, everybody not going to agree. The position of APC is the position of APC. They have a reason why they think, the thing not come out the way we then want them and, give it to them. Then get issues, then we then see them in the race, then they want addressed. But what we want to state as a body, we feel say those grievances can better be addressed by the court. Because it's very clear, say, if you go into a contest and you feel cheated in any way, shape, or form, like within the claim, I believe, say, then forgo and test the jurisprudence of the court. Go put you evidence and let the court look into them. If you get genuine claim, that is why we have that body, the judiciary, for look into matters of this nature. So me go encourage that we use that approach there, for solve whatever grievance they get.
So as the vice president for the Salon Bar Association, we make up of legal practitioners within that same court, they also refer the All People's Congress for take their concerns and so why then for discuss the judiciary taking into consideration the head of the judiciary when the Chief Justice already don't swear in the candidates we according to them they not believe say the figures them way ECSL Giam it deserve them. Why then for discuss the judiciary at this stage?
Well, the swearing in of the president, and the constitution give a mandate to the Chief Justice for do that. It is very clear. It's in our laws that on announcement of results by NEC, by ECSL, if anybody emerge winner and we not go into a second round, then automatically the same day the president will be sworn in. So that one, like constitutional mandate, will the Chief Justice perform. So I don't see any wrong in that aspect. We are just saying, in matters of this nature, people can feel aggrieved. People can feel, say, things did not pan out right. But again, now the Constitution also now creates the judiciary. And the judiciary, in a one way, is meant for be very impartial. So we want let them trust, say, the judiciary go be very impartial and present whatever evidence they get before the court and let the court look into them. That is the way to go.
Now, you say make them go to the judiciary if they get any concern. And the opposition, though clear it, it has been rumored that they no go take them positions there. Now, Parliament or the councils them. Una they guide or una they advise on legal matters and the Parliament that they make laws them na salon. In a situation this rumor come to pass, whose impact it thinks they get on the country democracy and also the laws them with Parliament go make with the single party?
Well, we want appeal, generally to political leaders them, and we've been known to make them appeal here before, and in fact, it's still important that then they come after, because sometimes the foresee waiting to happen after elections. Now, like when you say the APC say they not go take part in the governance structure, we want call on them for calmly. We all make this country. Elections are over. No election, not perfect. In we own findings, there were certain, few issues there and there we get for do with the electioneering. For example, the late opening of polling stations. But we also realize everybody who have been there on that line, they even with the open late vote, because the constitution and the law give them the mandate say for as long as you did on that line, it no matter. how long you stay in another line. The ones you stay in another line, the polling station close 5, election at 10, 9 and 10 in the night, you for vote. And we realize that people stayed very late in the polling stations them just for let them cast them vote. So there's no perfect system. Even the US then don't get and challenges them where matters are still being challenged now the court. So we ask say whatever grievance, let them go and have that determined by the court. With respect to them not taking part in governance, well, for me, I believe say then probably go sit again and see the need for let we all join hands and build this country. For parliament, they have their rules. If somebody na a parliamentarian and parliament don't open, and there's a period for which if you're in a parliament and avail yourself, maybe there are laws we govern, how parliament work. But we just the appeal for the good of this country that if anybody feel aggrieved about this process, let go present the evidence in the court and let court look into it.
The summary of una entire observation now that the election free and fair. But when you look at what observers say, then get concerned about the tabulation process or the tallying system. And also the opposition get issue with the tallying system, we give the final result. As bar association, what you want to observe for sake of this issue?
Well, we observe, you see the recommendations that we put out, within our findings then. It was a very fair, transparent and peaceful. There were few issues like I mentioned, but materially, they don't really affect the outcome of this result. The issues them, so then challenges them where, where abound. They abound in any election. It is our view that, then challenges then they materially, they affect, the credibility of the process itself. It was a very fair and transparent process from real observation. And we observe as they will been get right around the country, the report where them bring come to we'll put together and send out to the public at the fact that the elections were very free, fair, transparent, and credible.
The 63 observers from Munayo's side for observe the election. You think say Munago gets that threshold for observe the entire process and come out to this decision?
Well, yeah, because the polling stations there are many, but again, what we did so many engagement. We not go then at every polling station. But we observers then we've been then at the district towns then talk to so many stakeholders then the NEC officials, party agents. We went to polling stations, we realized party agents were there and we conducted interviews, for those party agents and then we say it's all good the way the process is going. And during the counting, our observers were present too. Me seated there, I observed few polling stations at Freetown here on the counting. It was a very transparent process. Though some stations, they were that RFF form, some not being really there, but I even noticed in a few polling stations, then write them on a piece of paper and then paste them at the wall there, where people were taking shots of those whatever. Party agents were taking pictures of those. And we believe these are the results. They were sent to district headquarter town and eventually come to the national returning officer where they announced. So we observation are that this process was very, very fair and transparent.
For the bar association, you after the election, various or diverse views then been there from observers or civil societies. We observe the process or election observers new come up with their own position where according to them the election for go in a runoff we not for be in the first post. For una and una your observation, what una make up of then different shade of opinions or views them or observations them we una self-observe the election?
Well, really, and it's our view that is a threat to democracy, really. Why I say this, because these are not the official bodies where the Constitution accredit, for give announcement on election result. We are all observers. Just like where we go, we observe this process and bring come with recommendation. That is where our mandate stops. Go observe and wait till you feel say now you find this, you bring them out. But anything we get for look at like somebody to try for usurp the powers of the returning officer, powers where the Constitution grant them, then whosoever they do that is edging outside the Constitution. Because that person they act ultra, who is waiting the Constitution say? The Constitution very clear on who done the person will get responsibility for announced result. And that responsibility, they rest on the national returning officer, when are the chairman of NEC, ECSL. Now, he only get the mandate by law for announced results. So if you begin see bodies, then they come and think, say, me na so I think this not for rich, so now this threshold that we say this person get, then it's dangerous, because it creates unnecessary, tension, wey no go good for the peace and security of this nation.
You call them unnecessary tension, but for the National Elections Watch, not to the first time this, where they don't pull data about election process in Salone, happened back in 2018. Why this time a very different? For the Bar Association, they say it cause unnecessary tension when I just data them pull, where they say according to it in them fair not, now so. Now their own reports. It's
a data. I don't have a problems with the metrics they use for arrive at their data. We don't know how NEC do them work. I'm not here to comment on how NEC do them work. I will not venture in that territory. That is NEC. We said get we own parameters that we'll use for determine why we feel say this election fair and fair. But the process, waiting I want comment on now the fact say if you want to usurp that power for say you feel say now this person now get this or this person get this percentage of threshold, in your estimation, it more like equate to say you announce the result even before the announcement of the official result. You come out and say you feel say nobody not for going to. There was one I saw say this not for going to a runoff per se.
After the announcement of the results, we see new pull their own data for project for showing at their own projection from their findings.
No, it was not after the announcement of the results when new say and then feel say runoff not for day.
2018 them been doing before. This one after the announcement, then pull their own data.
Well, yeah, that is their data. Then get right to the metrics where they use for arrive at their own data. That is new for you. Then get the parameters where they use. For us as an association, waiting we find out which we observe as them and where are they for comment on. Now the fact say the election was one that was free, fair, and credible enough.
In terms of data and projections, we see before the election even, we see institutions like IGR make a projection of the election results. We, according to them say President Bio the win with a certain margin. For Bar Association, when I think that this been there within the mandates and or outside the mandate, as you mentioned, for new.
It's normal in any elections. We call them pollsters. Even America and other elections, people can come, then they gauge public opinion. The one they talk to, then can pull in then they before elections. It does not necessarily mean say, now so the election for come out. Sometimes the pollsters then can get it right. We all know about the Donald Trump election, the first one we win. Everybody really been in favor. The pollsters then all been in favor. Hillary winning the elections. But we know it didn't come out. So they got it wrong in that respect. So yes, how they can arrive at those decisions? Then they talk to, people them around and how them feel, the number of people that we don't talk to. In their estimation, them believe say this particular political party go get this because of how we see, the one that will gauge how they don't respond. So yes, that one is normal in any electioneering process. People can make that assessment day and project say this is what I think will happen after the engagement with the people. So that is normal.
So quickly before we come to this large precedents, now waiting at the recommendations then with the Bar Association make based on our findings.
Well, based on we findings, in fact, before the recommendation, we've been also give credit to the security apparatus, because we noticed that it was an election that was not militarized. If you understand what I mean, because sometimes people tend to be disenfranchised if then they come to a polling station and see every presence of security officers all over the place. No, it was not like that. The officers that were at the polling station where we observe, where we observe as them bring report them to they were not armed. The one that will come in now just a few, the armed one that will come in now issues been there of electoral issues then we then come for council. But generally, you notice say it was all very good from the security sector, and we really commend them for that. With our recommendations, we really want call on NEC for let them improve, the planning. For ensure that early and effective distribution of election materials, because that been caused delay. But though like I say, it not be materially too important, because all the one that even when they open polling stations, they're late. The one that we've been then at the queue up to the close of polling time, then be allowed them for votes, even very late in the night. So we ask them, going forward, for let them provide adequate election materials, for the polling station there, for preventing delays then they. And then for also improve on the communication, we believe, because we see how social media was awash with so many, negative, messages that way come out, we tend for threatening the peace and security of the country. Now one space down there, I just been to talk to my brother when I've been there on break. Now one space down there, we then truly need for look into, because it's important that whatever information we give, our people are so gullible. It's important that whatever information we give, now one way you go, creates that kind of situation where people will feel that there's a breakdown of law and order. So with the call on ECSL, let them get away with them, say go manage for at least come out and counter some of the negative things that we can come out by way of social media. And we also ask observer groups then where they are credit for those other elections, like SLBA and other institutions there, let them refrain from announcement of election results, where go tend for, like say, then they usurp, the constitutional mandate of the ECSL chair, because now in no more, the law give that power day for announce results. So let we not do anything where go tend for even think like we suggest say, and we announce the results where now one group person get the mandate, for do that, and then we call on the people that are aggrieved, political parties will feel, where they not feel too good about waiting to happen at the process, let them use the legal means. As lawyers, we always say, don't go court and go iron out whatever the grievance will get it. And I believe, say, if it's a good case, there's a competent court of jurisdiction who will look into them and give them what's in the due.
We come to the other studio guest. We na Ahmed Sahid Nazgala, the president for the Salon Association of Journalists, SLAJ, as we don't talk about how the media been covered the June 24 elections. Now it's in some of the lessons them we SLAJ and membership learn from the whole coverage of the June 24 elections compared to that of 2018.
Well, thank you very much. Yeah, I think for this one, basically what we will give you now your assessment of what we do as media professionals. Some man would say, objective, because now we assess ourselves. But we do look forward to the Independent Media Commission, their own monitoring assessment with the pool, and we will give a fair and objective assessment of how the media perform during these elections here. Like I did talk, the media perform exceptionally compared to the previous elections. And going forward, what we think we need to do, the things that we don't do right for these elections, we need to continue with them. For example, this fact-checking platform where we don't establish, and we support from the UNDP and the NDI. We're not supposed to make it die down, and we go find ways for how we ensure we sustain them. And one of the ways we think for do that now for make sure say the media houses them adopt that kind extra. Now on a media house, for example, 98.1 get a fact-checking desk where they're going to use for fact-check some of the stories them. AYB get, SABC get. Then they go help for make sure we continue with them, because it's very important. Social media, the way they go, so definitely very disturbing. So much disinformation to go around, and you see how people are not active. That'll be the hotspot for the elections, not to outside the physically, we're on digital space, and so we go for be actually concerned about that. Yeah.
So with this fact checking, make so many concerns come back after the announcement. So after the announcement of the presidential election results, and also after when you've been pulled in your data, make plenty of people don't ask questions. Yeah. Okay, SLAJ say they get I verify, and then they pull it true news, and then they tell you waiting at misinformation, waiting at the true information, who some for believe, who some we not for believe. When I don't fact check the ECSL and data and that of the National Elections Watch.
No, read that. But if you look at with the camp, let us explain. If you look at what they happened during that period when they wait for they announce the result officially from the ECSL, you can see you get so many results will be fly out on social media, and the team fact check all the one because they don't say the right person for the right body for announced result, not the ECSL. So definitely any result they see will be the one the public say. Just forget about the result, then we see on social media. wait for the CSL for announce the official result, listen to radio or watch TV, forget the official result. So that's the only way that we do fact check up. But we're not getting data. We're not observe the elections. We're not getting the data. What would they get for reference to? If we want cross-check CSL or verify CSL the results, we're going to get access to the data. And at the back, we get for ask. You see, what do they fact check? You get for verify.
New pool.
New?
The data way new pool.
No. We're not taking that. Not the right for. Not the right. They get right for doing independent investigation and get their own data.
So now
and
fact check in Orichandra.
Yeah.
So back to the credibility of the media in observing the election. You say they did very well, and also they take data of report of incidents.
Yes.
In this election, una receive any incidents with journalists involved before, during, and after the election?
Yes, like I tell you when I start, I say for these elections, one of the things that we'll prioritize now, safety and security of journalism. And to a greater extent, we want to appreciate the way the journalists conduct themselves during these elections, and we want to also recognize the relationship with the security forces for these elections. It improved greatly compared to the previous elections. We don't actually get any incident of attack or intimidation across the country against journalism. But the only unfortunate incident we get now, the one we happened at the APC building when they called a press conference that the flag bearer for go talk to the journalists and they invite them for go when they get trapped. That period with the security forces then they fire that tear gas. So we get some distress calls them from the media houses and also from journalists. So then they decided together with foreign journalism. And so we get for, because now the police, we get a relationship with the police, so we get contacted there. And fortunately for we, the two people who they had the media in the police, now journalists and national members then. So we contact them, then give the number of the regional commander for the western urban.
In fact, checking be needed again in that incident that will be happen that
yes, we go for doing yes, we still do them.
All People's Congress and Party headquarters, whether or not have been to see somebody being lost in life there because we've been called the police the other day.
Yes, they put them.
They're not aware.
Fact checking. I verify.
So, I verify
plus from it's not on the website.
You
don't find out if somebody died. Yeah, somebody died, but they don't know thing killer. So they put that clearly, but they find out say somebody died. That woman would say that he died, and the fact check. Then go to the mortuary, then check with the police, and they put them information together and put out. So he didn't at the website. It go to the EDCM, and so we get a call there. So we contact the regional commander. And we tell her what happened. We tell her, say, we don't let them trap it, and we want to pull them from inside, let them know hot. So they are sure we say they pull them, and eventually they pull them all. But we get one call from one of the members, they will say, if we could be parked outside, they alert say that the security officials then vandalize them. And later on, I see he also pull some reports where he put in other newspapers, them say he was beaten and attacked. Then we also investigate them. They talk to the other journalists that would all been trapped inside there. And also CPJ also get interest by them. We don't contact them and we don't give them all the numbers of the people who have been trapped. Journalism, AYB journalism, the SMBC journalism, the then this editor for Salon Compass, we also did getting but we're happy that the police be intervened and then we get them all for pull them out on hot during that moment, including the foreign journalism. Only one big thing that they will get, the only thing they will get we in terms of who 59 then small we aspiration for make sure these elections will not get any incident who journalists are involved in terms of the assault and threat.
So now waiting at the message we left with the media as we go wrap up the program soon regarding their own contribution for ensure say we maintain the peace in as much as a lot of grievances don't come regarding and we get to do with the announcement of the presidential results. Waiting at the message we left with the media.
Well, SLAD will not be only involved in training of journalism, will not be only involved in fact-checking, will be also involved in working with other stakeholders and make sure say we also contribute to ensuring free, fair, peaceful, and credible elections. And so we are also part of that peace pledge. We are also part of the bar section, the York Declaration, and also the peace pledge will be happening with the Commonwealth now. And we see the commitment with the leaders they make on that day for make sure say they preach against non-violence during, before, during, and after the elections, and also any grievance when they get, they commit say in the going to court. And I believe say this is not the time this will go for test the courts and test with judiciary and make sure say we learn from this one because we're going to elections every 5 years. We just have 5 democratic elections. We repeat the same mistakes again for every elections, even when we have 5 at the 5th one is. So by now, if we don't get a guidebook, we tell we say these are the lessons learned, these are the things that we'll do well, we'll improve on them. So for the next elections, we're not repeating kind never repeat that kind of issue that again. Before, make sure say we go into the elections as experienced people then in the sub-region or even Africa in terms of conducting democratic elections. And so we find it very, very, very unfortunate that we continue to repeat the same mistakes again for every elections. And yeah, that's not good
for the media. You say you slash Glady with the performance of the media in terms of credibility.
Generally,
yes, and it get for be strengthened
yes.
going further. And one issue where people think say slash for Putana for work with the information ministry for ensure say the issue of prestige should not be appointments, political appointment, but rather based on slash interventions and selection or application. And you say una need go there. Why?
Yes, we don't want people. We don't want to involve in politics. Now, like I tell you,
it's too sensitive.
It's very sensitive and a political appointment. You get your colleagues them. They want employment. They want better employment for change them conditions of them conditions in life and everything. So they see it as an opportunity. And on the one hand, on the other hand, this is not political appointment. We're not going to involve for now. We don't want involved in anything within the consultancy for make political appointment, except for things that we want to say. This is not in the interest of the media, for develop the media.
This in any way don't.
But now something we will discuss. If the members that feel say it's not an issue we need for discuss at an AGM, we will discuss them and make recommendations to government. Yes, but personally, or from your administration, I don't want to go into that for involved in the any appointment of any political press attaché in terms of what they call. Yes, so like I say, in wrapping, we look forward to the IMC, the monitoring of the conduct of the media and journalism across the country for these elections. We're going to be very thorough and proper because let me get the capacity and then be deployed across the four regions and for ensure they monitor within the media they do and how they do them. So we continue for ensure we look for the end. We also recognize and thank you to all the journalists who cover the elections, the IRM platform, everybody. We cover the elections and we continue to see how the media they do for ensure they hold after the elections, make sure we continue to preach peace, we continue to preach unity and justice.
Many thanks to Canada Studio this morning, President for the Salon Association of Journalists, Ahmed Said Nazgala. We come over to Sidiki Tomi Esquire, we are the Vice President for the Salon Bar Association, as we wrap up the program, whose message you left to the public regarding law and order.
Thank you very much for the opportunity once again. And, as lawyers, no one close and not make this point. As lawyers, we're very important when the right of people are respected, more especially rights than we enshrine at the Constitution. And we also to be noticed now that the free movement of people, we realize it been really lead to the high voter turnout. And how did we come about that? You go agree with me, say previous elections, you don't get some curfew thing where people can be constrained for going to polling stations then. But this one, EBC say it was very clear. And we give kudos to we own colleague when Augustine Mara, we been bring an action at the Supreme Court. And that action they was litigated, by the erudite Yada Williams ESQ. So we enjoy the fruit of that judgment today. We mean say everybody being free for go about in business. You were register, go to polling station, go vote. You no register. You were free to go about your business. Nobody was restricted. So when things like that happen, we feel good because these are things where enshrine at the Constitution. These are rights where people get where they restrict them in any way, shape or form. And me message out, for let we continue for keep the peace. We don't sign peace declaration then the York one and that of the peace and pledge where we sign with stakeholders and let we commit. This now once earlier. Now we all get this country. Let now elections are over. Let we put hands together and see how we go build this country. Again, whatever concerns have been raised, we want let it be determined by a court of competent jurisdiction. That is the way to go.
All right,
thank you very much,
gentlemen, for our Canada program this morning. That's Sidiki Tomi, the Vice President for the Salon Bar Association, and also we've been get the President for the Salon Association of Journalists, Ahmed Said Nazgala. They made the program they talk about waiting and fair not about the June 24 elections.